So now I've got prepared just a few use cases, how we can use Xopero One, where it fits, and what problems it solves. So the first use case is about VMware backup and VMware restores. We are able to back up virtual machines approximately every 10 minutes, so we can say that we are able to achieve recovery point objective within around 10 minutes, which is pretty well for a backup solution because of course we are not the VMware cluster, we are just making backup of virtual machine, and usually 10 minutes of RPO is more than enough for the customer. But of course, it's achievable if it will be necessary. Once the backup is done directly to the backup storage, we've got few different possibilities to restore the data. For example, in the case of any disaster recovery, if we have disaster recovery site, if customer has disaster recovery site, we can restore our virtual machines with time less than 1 minute directly on the disaster recovery site, thanks to instant recovery feature available in Xopero One. So with just few clicks, we are able to run virtual machine with no restore. So we don't need to restore the entire virtual machine to disaster recovery site. We can attach this virtual machine directly from the backup, and it's possible to done within the time less than 1 minute. So in case of any disaster, you don't need to wait to recreate, for example, your entire virtual environment. Depends on the customer needs, depends on the customer VMware configuration. We can also use VMware migration features. So meantime, when customer is running on his disaster recovery site, he can restore his production VMware, and after that, with use of VMware migration features, we can migrate our virtual machines from disaster recovery site to production with no losing of any data during this time. So literally, when there will be any disaster, we can, in the time less than 1 minute, bring back entire environment to be alive, and after that we can migrate with any interruptions this environment to the production side. Pretty similar possibilities we've got using our drive image backup and physical devices protection. So here also we are able to keep RPO in around 10 minutes, and after that, once the backup is on the storage, we can restore it at least in a few different ways. If we are talking about the full recovery, we can use bare metal restore feature. Of course, it time depends on the data size, storage efficiency, and few more. And usually it takes a way longer than, for example, running this drive image as iSCSI target. Such iSCSI target can be attached to the VMware. At this moment, it requires some manual operation to be done, but it's possible. And after that, we can migrate our virtual machine created, which is created based on our iSCSI target directly to the production site using VMware migration features. So we can do with so we can proceed our physical machine exactly in the same way as virtual one. For example, also it's possible to recover entire drive image directly as a virtual machine to the production site. So Xopero One makes possible to move physical devices to virtual, and we have P2V feature. And that's all about the use cases. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. There is one more pretty simple use case. So let's assume we've got some small company who needs to protect their data. They've got just a few computers and some small NAS. This is pretty open use case for some SMB companies that they are using this NAS to keep their backup there. Usually they are made manually or to exchange some files. We can run Xopero One directly on such NAS using, for example, Docker container, and there are a lot of common brand producers who makes possible to run Docker containers directly on their devices, and we can easily deal with this company needs in that way. Once company grew up and new remote branch office appears with some new computers and new storage, we don't need to do anything else than attaching this new storage to existing Xopero 1 instance and installing the agents on those computers. But if we want to manage our backup environment from any place in the world, for example, we can move our Xopero 1 from on-premise directly to SaaS and manage our entire backup environment through cloud. After that, once company grew up and Microsoft 365 appears, we can easily set it up to keep the data from Microsoft 365 backup on our two NAS devices. So that's pretty easy. But if there won't be enough space to keep our backups there, we can attach some S3 public cloud if we don't want to invest, for example, into new hardware at our company. And at the end, where some remote employees also appears in our company, we can also easily cover them with exactly the same Xopero 1 instance. And for them, the best way will be to send the data directly to the cloud.